Hey guys, welcome to the Power Entrepreneur podcast. Well, actually, it's not the podcast right now. We're doing the webinar. But I just want to say I'm really glad to be here with all of you. I've known Jacob now for a little over a year. Jake, I met about a year ago as well, just over the interweb, as one of my friends likes to call it. But I got to tell you, it's been a real privilege knowing these gentlemen. This whole series of webinars that they're doing right now are designed not to just get people information, but to add value to your lives. And I'm privileged and honored that they actually invited me again to be part of this group and to share a little bit of something on here with you. For those of you that don't know my background, I know if you've read anything that Jake has been putting out there on the little bios, I am an executive protection specialist. I am a professional bodyguard. That's what I do for a living. My background is I used to be a bad guy years and years ago. I got put in witness protection for about 7 years. And a lot of things changed in my life. One of those is I came to know God. I came to change my life completely, did a whole 180. And just over the years, I've been blessed through a bunch of different contacts to not only come to know what it means to be a better person, to be a better man and a better father, but I've learned what it means to become a better human. And through this, I've had the privilege of bodyguarding a lot of different people, many who've invested into my life by just pouring their knowledge, pouring their wisdom, giving me a lot of access to things that I probably would not have had access to in my life had I not just been willing to listen. And that's one of the things that I come back from is understanding that what's made me a better person today is actually taking the time to listen to wise people. So today's topic I brought out there and talking with Jacob about this was, what's something about my background that and what I do today that would make this experience unique for you. And what I want to do is add value to your lives by going through what I think a lot of different people today tend to feel, and that is, we all think inside we're that tough guy. And so the title of my thing is, the Tough Guy's Guide to Collaboration, because the two seem to be at odds. One of the things that I've learned over the years is when I was younger, I thought it all had to be me. I had to be the tough guy. Just so for background's sake, I know 13 different styles of martial arts. I have black belts in 4 of them. I've got several friends of mine that actually know a heck of a lot more than I do. And I've been privileged to learn from a lot of different people over my lifetime. But the crazy thing about it was, in understanding this, was the personal skills that I learned physically from martial arts. Those same principles translated into other areas of my life. One was the dedication. The other was hard work. The other was listening to people who knew more than I did. So that's what I want to jump off into, is in the tough guy's mind, or the tough person, the tough lady. Because trust me, I've had a couple ladies that were willing to kick my butt several times. And when I was learning, especially Aikido and Taekwondo, that just showed that it doesn't matter who you are, what you are, but if you are dedicated and you're consistent, you can be better. So the first thing that I learned with this, when I started transitioning from trying to be the tough guy, because I've been in over 100 fights in my life, literally remembered the vast majority of them, how I won, how I lost. But what I've come to realize over the years was that in being a tough person, being a tough guy, trying to act all macho, was that, was a pretty selfish thing. I realized that acting like the tough guy was, number one, a selfish act, because I thought it all depended on me. I thought it was all about me. But what I've seen is that in learning things, I had to learn from somebody. Every one of the skills that I learned from, especially my very first martial arts instructor, Mr. Stamps, he was one of those guys that would always hit me on the head if I didn't learn something. I felt like George McFly, in that movie Back to the Future. Hello, McFly. Because every time I'd mess up, he would do that. It was just a tough guy mentality is the way he trained me. And it wasn't until years later that I looked back in my life and realized this guy did not have to invest into some punk kid like I was back then. But what it got me realizing is that, to learn to be a tough person doesn't take a whole lot, but learning the skills to be tougher than my situations, to learn to be a strong man in tough times, requires learning from other people that are smarter than me. So that's the first thing I wanted to bring up to you right there is that, learning to be a tough person or be a strong person in tough times means you're not alone. You can't do it alone. And two, it's not a game plan. Trying to think, well, I'll learn on my own. I'll do this. I don't have to listen to somebody else. It's not that. We live in a world today where there is so much information out there that we tend to think that because we have that information at our fingertips, we know it all. And we really don't. Because the things that I saw through the martial arts and even running my gangs when I was a kid was that none of it would matter if one, I didn't listen to what somebody told me and apply or execute that knowledge that I got. And two, that if people didn't listen to me, I was just going to end up doing things on my own. You can't have a gang. You can't have a business. You cannot have an organization or a team if you don't have people willing to listen to you. So being a tough guy or thinking you're self-made is not a game plan. The other thing I saw with this right now is that it's the flip side of the same coin, which is asking for help. And this is where the collaboration comes into, because a lot of us tend to think that it's easy to tell someone, hey, you need to go ask for help. You need to go look to that person. Go ask them for that. But when it comes to us personally going through and asking for help or realizing I'm deficient in this area or I don't know enough. I don't know enough real estate. I don't know enough about stocks and bonds. I don't know enough to whatever it is in your life that you don't know enough of. The thing that comes out of that is a lot of us tend to feel like we're a failure because we don't know. I mean, here I am, I'm not quite 50 yet, and I'm asking for more information. I'm asking for more help. I'm asking people for other things. And because of my background where I've been successful, those few times as we get older in this, we think, if I ask, it makes me look weak. And it really doesn't. To me, what I find is it takes a stronger person to ask for help and be willing to ask and move forward than it does to try to figure out things on your own. I mean, you can go to YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all these different social media platforms and get the information. But the best thing I learned was in asking help from people and understand that, not everyone has the right information for you, but overcoming the obstacle of me or getting out of my own way and being able to say, hey, I need help. To me, in my mind, that makes you an even tougher person, makes you so much stronger and ready to face, especially the times that we're going through. So that is the start for me for the Tough Guy's Guide to Collaboration. One, being tough and trying to be alone is never going to cut it. Two, asking for help, collaborating with other people does not ever make you weak. So now part of this whole webinar series is, well, how can I make money during this time? Well, let me help you out with that. There's a lot of free people out there. Sorry, let me take that back. There's a lot of free information out there, like I was saying, but it's connecting with the right people that's actually going to help you make this money. So one of the things that I've been seeing a trend on now that all of us, at least at some point, should have been figuring out is this. The information does us no good if we don't start applying it. So what is something that something that you would like to do, something that feeds your soul, feeds your spirit, that that you can help somebody else with? There's a guy out there named Brendan Bouchard, who years ago, he's a well-known speaker and author now, but he got into a car accident years ago. And when he came out of that, it totally changed his perspective. Now, I bring that up because right now we're going through this troubling time with the coronavirus. A lot of us are stuck at home right now. And this is what happened with him was during rehab. And just like us, most of us being stuck at home, is he took the time to start investing in him and started looking at what can I do? How can I learn to be better? So he got in with Tony Robbins, with Dean Graziosi, looked for all these other mentors online, started devouring their books, started listening to their podcasts, started going to their webinars, started going to their live events back when he could. But the idea was this, is that while I am trying to get better, let me look to people that are already better at what I would like to become, because we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So in the making money process, what he's learned to become is to become an expert at different things. Now, it seems kind of silly to say that, that we can become an expert in everything. We can't, because you'll always know your business more than I will. But I heard him a few years ago give a talk on that. And so what I started doing is I've had mentors in my life, and I've been blessed with that. But what I started doing was starting to be intentional, because I, being me, look for the cheap way of doing things. And so I started looking for all those free mentors, and get it. There's a lot of people out there that are giving you tons of value, tons of free information that even if you use that small free stuff is going to help you advance, help you in your business, help you make money out there. So what I did was I started looking to people that I know are wise, people that I know are helping other people, because ultimately that's what I want. Yes, making money is good, but at the same time, it's providing for my family, adding value to others, and at the end of the day, looking at myself in the mirror, knowing that I'm doing the right thing that actually helped me out. So what I did was, in listening to mentors like John Maxwell, for instance, I've been part of his team now for a couple of years, officially, even though I've always read his books and learned to teach leadership principles. What I got out of this, and listening to the different speakers that were at the event and some of his key staff members, was that I needed to get closer to a mentor. I needed to find someone that was modeling success, and then start applying that in my life. So the collaboration process came in first because I started learning, 2, because I listened, 3, because I started drawing closer to them. So I actually have 2 mentors that I actually invest money into. Now, I know right now it's tough for a lot of us who are stuck at home to invest any kind of finances at all. So I want to encourage you, when you're done here, look up a mentor, look up somebody that's not just a positive speaker or someone that's just going to add a little bit of value to your life, but somebody that you can actually look at their lifestyle and say, if I model what this person is doing, I know it will help me. I want you to go and do that. Look up people like John Maxwell, Tony Robbins, Brendan Burchard, Dean Graziosi, Christian Simpson. This is the thing that I got from the Maxwell event that has applied to my life today. One of the mentors in there, his name is, he's a coach. His name is Christian Simpson. He's from the UK. And this man is a pretty tough guy. His style of doing things was very unique for me, because it resonated with me. Most people know me now as a bodyguard, who's also an entrepreneur. But those that have seen me in my past know that I like being, the stern, tough guy, because it's part of what I do for work. And if you've ever seen me on MTV, or you've seen me on History Channel, or any of those other reality shows, you know that this is the look that helps me with my job. But those that are close to me know that I like to smile. Christian was one of those guys that was very tough. When it comes to selling, he's an amazing coach, an amazing mentor for me, because his style resonated with mine. And his thing was this: if you are not going to learn to apply what I'm teaching you, then by all means, please find somebody else. If you ever read any of his emails, he's always telling you, if this doesn't work for you, please unsubscribe. Just go on and find somebody else out there. And I've seen people in the past who have sent him emails or texts and say, hey, man, that's not the way you sell. You just don't push people away. But he's very specific about what he wants to do. He knows that there's a certain mindset out there that resonates with his, and those are the people that he wants to help. So what I want to encourage you in this is, find a mentor that will help you in what you're wanting to do, in your style. Because you don't have to be everything to everybody. You don't have to always smile. You don't have to listen to somebody for 2 or 3 hours to learn to do something from them. And this is how I started collaborating with them. Was I started sharing what I learned from his sessions and what I've learned from his courses. The big one for me is the Science of Success too, that he teaches. That started helping me. And when he heard my story, he asked me to share testimony about that. So I did. Later on, I got invited to come back and share from the platform, which I did. So thankful for that opportunity. Last year, I was invited to go to the UK to speak at a large special project that he was doing at one of these large hotels. And it just blew my mind, the number of people that were interested in finding out more about this style. I want to know for my niche how I can push out people to learn to say no for a few people so I can say yes to a lot of people that resonate with me. So the collaboration process wasn't such that I felt like, no, I can do this on my own. But no, it's learning to reach out, learning to humble yourself, and learn to listen. So what's happened now in the last couple of years since I've been doing this, on one of the reality shows that I actually work, I've had the opportunity to talk with several of the cast members off season. And I had one lady in particular who's been on TV for a number of years. And this starts now with part of the practical application for what collaboration does for you. So I want you to get this if you don't get anything else. What she did was, she was coming on to the show, and when she and I had talked before, it was, I don't understand. I've been on TV for all these years, and I'm still not getting any farther ahead. And I asked her, well, what are you doing? And she has a manager. She has someone trying to help her out. And what I learned from Christian in one of the master classes with him is about your hidden gold mine. You have a lot of these things that you already have access to, where there's money on the table for you that you can access, but you don't know to do it, or sometimes you're just afraid. So I just shared with her just the one principle that's changed my life in this, and that was collaboration. So I asked her, I said, well, what do you want to do? Well, I want to start a fishing line. I'd like to start a gym. I'd like to sell clothes. And so I asked her about the clothes. What do you know about that? And she's like, well, I don't know a whole lot. So I said, well, why don't you get on and collaborate with the company? If you looked on like Instagram, there's so many Instagram models now. You see guys doing it for a lot of these energy drinks, a lot of these girls and guys, drinking the cans, showing off how physically fit they are. It kind of gives the impression that energy drink changed their life. Well, we know it didn't. But what they did was they got in touch with the company and said, hey, listen, I'd be willing to model in exchange for, some of them pay, some of them for a code where people can shop and buy that energy drink or buy a clothing line from them at a discount, and then they get a portion of the profit. Now, there were several girls on some of these other shows that I've worked that were already doing that, whether it's selling for one of the big names out there is Fashion Nova, which if you don't know it, it's okay. They're just a $1 billion company that just sells a lot of clothes. They've come up in the last couple of years. Just because they've had social media influencers. So that was the first thing I told her is, why don't you contact them and sell some of their clothes for them? Just model it. That's it. Just 1 or 2 outfits a week. That's all you got to do. She started telling me, well, I want to start my own clothing line. Okay. So what do you know about making clothes? Well, I don't know anything. Okay. What do you know about selling clothes? Well, I don't really know anything. So then why wouldn't you collaborate with somebody that's able to help you get ahead in that industry? Well, I just want to do things on my own. And it hit me because I had felt like that before. I wanted to learn something. I wanted to do something. I just didn't want to partner up with anybody before. Why? Because 1, I'm a tough guy. 2, I felt that if I had to ask somebody else, I was being a failure. And in talking with her, we started texting back and forth for a few months. Now, if you go onto her Instagram, you see that at least once or twice a week, she's showcasing either some workout outfit, some bathing suit, or some pantsuit, or some dresses, different things on there. And she's making the money now. And one of the things that she said to me was, thank you so much for pushing me to go out and just partner up with somebody. That's all collaboration is. With Jacob and with Jake here on the Power Entrepreneur, this is what the collaboration is. It's adding value to others, and 2, being willing to share some of your experiences and some of your wisdom. So every one of you guys that are out there watching this, or whether you're listening to this live or on the replay, you have the ability to go out and
collaborate with somebody. For instance, you can go to on some of the free stuff you can do. Go to your local library. Ask how you can read to kids. Maybe that's not your cup of tea. Ask how you can read or share a 20-minute class on real estate or on web designing or baking cookies. It's whatever knowledge that you have that somebody else doesn't have. You can start out by offering some free value to them. And hey, listen, this is where the collaboration comes into, because one, you start to meet other people out there that know a little bit more than you. With these gentlemen, I've learned more about Zoom. I've learned more about doing the webinars. I've learned more about doing podcasts, which now I've started doing my own. Why? Because I was willing to collaborate with these gentlemen and learn something new and humble myself. So maybe webinars aren't your thing. Maybe baking isn't your thing. There's a lot of other free things that you can do out there. So I'm just going to hit off a few free things that you can do that, one, can either get you some PR for what you're doing, or two, make you a little bit of more money. And in the few minutes that I have here, one thing that you can do that a lot of people are afraid to do is number one, ask for more money. I know, especially in these times, it seems so hard to ask somebody for more because you're afraid you're going to lose the contract or you're going to lose your job. Excuse me a moment. But I'll tell you what, if you are an essential person to that business or to those people, being willing to raise your prices up just a little bit to show the value that you bring to the table is so easy. But so many are afraid of that. Why? Because it's collaboration. It's working with somebody and asking for something in return. So one of the things that happened with me a couple of years ago was I heard Christian in one of the seminars challenge a person in there. And the guy made up all these excuses. But in the end, he said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to walk out of here today in the break or before the end of the day and call up that person and ask for more money. Just ask for it. Because if they value you, the value shows not just in appreciation, but in monetary compensation, which for us, getting paid is that applause from our client or from those that need our services. So that's what I did. I went out in that hallway. I said, you know what? I'm tired of being afraid. I'm tired of not having enough, feeling like I'm scrounging about. And listen, I don't hurt for money. It's just that fear factor of, I know I can get more, but I just didn't know what to do. So I did the first thing that Christian said. I went out, started making some calls, and I kid you not, I came back in from that break in 15 minutes, and I had a contract ready to sign. I had made 33% more money just from one client because I asked for more and I pointed out the benefits of having you. Second thing that you can do is go out to people that you know, or even businesses that you don't know, and offer some free advice, some free counseling. Let them know who you are. Show some of the stuff that you've done, whether it's through a website or through Facebook or LinkedIn. Let them see who you are and offer them one or two pieces of counsel, and let them know that it's counsel, not just advice. Because the thing about advice is this: people are going to take it one of two ways. One, they're going to think it's opinion, which is what 90+% of the people think. So an opinion is like a belly button. Everyone has one, so we don't pay attention to them. Or that other smaller percentage is going to see it as counsel. And what counsel says is, I have to do this to get better. I need to follow because this person cares. So when you go in there, have a written plan. Show something that already in their industry, whether it's in marketing, whether it's in advertising for them, helping out with the recipe, maybe offering a cleaning solution. It could be whatever. I'm talking restaurant right there, but it can be whatever other area in life, something that you know that somebody else may not know. Third thing you can also do is get out there and get to radio stations or get to some of these low-key media platforms that other people aren't doing. For instance, when I said the radio station, I've actually helped train about 80 some odd bodyguards now over the last several years. And that's one of the key things I tell them to do. Hey, give the radio people a free lunch. I had one lady where this is now 5 months ago, 6 months ago almost. She and I were just talking last week. She spent And she invested $120 into doing this inexpensive strategy. And I told her, just spend about $40 a month, go once or twice a month during a time when some of these talk shows that have a large following locally need lunch. And so she went to, I forget what sandwich place, but anyway, she brought in a sandwich tray for them, told a little bit about herself. She told them that she's a security specialist, and she had a 30-second soundbite. And all she did was she offered to help these guys if they ever needed a security panelist or a security specialist to talk about something that happened during a shootout, or during a home invasion or a violent crime. If they needed an expert to talk with, she was willing to start out and do it pro bono, do it for free for these guys. And she just brought some sandwiches. A month later, she spent $40 more, came back, offered the same thing. She had an MP3 with a 30-second soundbite, doing a mock interview for them. She said, hey, just listen to this, if you think I can help out. She repeated the same thing. She came back in the following month, did the very same thing. That's all she did. She wasn't asking them. She said, if you need it, I'm here to help. That's all she did. Never once asked for money, never once asked for work, only offered her value, her services to help them for free. So when we were talking last week, she told me how it wasn't but another 2 or 3 weeks after that last time that they called her up. She started explaining some things. It was all about home invasions. There was a rash of home invasions in the city she lives in. And within a few days, she started getting all these calls, started getting new contracts, new clients. And what she told me when we spoke last week was that she made $1,000 just from doing that within like less than 3 weeks, she said. And I said, so was it worth it investing that $120 for the 90 days to make that $1,000 return? She said it was. So that's what I want to encourage you guys with right now is, the collaboration starts with being willing to help people, being willing to add value, and 3, getting out there without asking for something in return, but always have that mindset that, hey, if the opportunity opens up, this is what I want. And that's how you started off with, is not the tough guy. It's the humble guy, the humble gal. It's the, I'm here to help. Let me know what I can do for you. And when those calls come in, be willing to offer up your service and let them know what it costs. Because you didn't say it was for free. You just gave up your service in the beginning and gave them a taste of what valuable free training, free insight, free counsel, free wisdom that you have, that you've learned from others can do. And that if they apply what you teach or apply what you use or apply your services, it's going to make an impact on their life. And ultimately, that's the greatest thing that I think any tough guy, any tough gal ever really wanted to do. It wasn't about just being tough and getting known for that. It was about making an impact, being known for that tough person that you are. And I think the strongest people in the world are always going to be those that know how to humble themselves, know how to raise up their hands to lift other people up, and 3, use their hands and their words and their heart to touch people's lives in a positive way. And those are just my free tips on how you guys can use the Tough Guy's Guide to Collaboration to start making some money for yourself. All right. I appreciate it, guys. Listen, if you want any more, you want to talk, you can definitely reach out to Jacob and to Jake as well here. My email is smflores70@gmail.com, or you can follow me on Facebook. Anytime you look up Sam Flores or on Instagram, Sam R. Flores, you're always going to see something coffee related or Superman related or something that has to do with adding value to your life for the day. All right. I appreciate you guys. Have yourselves a great week there. Hey, and come back on at 4:00 again. You don't want to miss out on these webinars. I appreciate you guys. Have a great day.